In March 2020, Alec Young came up with the idea of e-racing GP, a virtual edition of Grand Prix racing, just to pass the time during COVID. Remarkably, we are now on to Season 6 and competing with the little match of the Tokyo Olympics for your attention. Welcome to Season 6 of e-racing GP. Round 1 coming to you from the Salzburg Ring. And we have got some really good entertainment and some very familiar names, Alex Young. Firstly, congratulations on the initiative. But Season 6, some big names to look forward to.
Oh, absolutely. We got reigning champion Naquib Azlan there with Josh Purwien and Muhammad Nabil, who finished second and third in Global Edition 5. We got the Indonesians back, Inigo Rama there, Arwin Taruna. So a lot of good drivers. Allesandro Ottaviani from Italy also, who's probably one of the top racers in Race Room and R Factor 2. So really competitive field. And we're going old school. We're a bit of a tip of the hat to old school racing, and we're doing Group C cars in gold class.
Just to give you some real basics on how it is, it's a season, 7 rounds this season for Season 6. There's 2 races on most weekends. 5 rounds this season. There's 2 races on most weekends. We have a qualification period of 5 minutes, then a 15-minute sprint race, and then a reverse grid race based upon the positions of the first race. And you accumulate points throughout the season. You're allowed to drop 1 set of points to get your final tally. And our defending champion is a Malaysian, Naquib Azlan, Alex, who had tried again. He'd been second and third, and eventually he got himself a victory.
Yeah, so great for Naquib. We can see the top 3 from the previous season. Naquib Azlan there, like you said, on the far left, he took the championship. Josh Purwien really ran him close. Josh Purwien's also, I think, finished second twice now. And Muhammad Nabil, the younger brother of Muhammad Nabil, who also has won the Global Edition 3 times, he was third position. I know Nabil has really been putting in the practice. He's going to be trying hard to try and win his first Global Edition gold class.
Indeed, you mentioned this is very much an international competition, as we are on board with Naquib Azlan. Now, you mentioned the cars. Let's just give a nod to them. They're the Group C 1980 Classic. So far more difficult, I would imagine, to handle, far more sideways around this tight Salzburg Ring circuit.
Yeah, and we're at the Salzburg Ring as well, which is a bit of an old school track, very well known for MotoGP, or 500cc bikes, shall we say. And there look at these cars right now. Look how old and retro they are. We're riding on board with Allesandro Ottaviani, who won a race in Global Edition 5 last year. He's from Italy. Like I said, he's one of the top drivers in R Factor 2 and in Race Room. It's great to see him here. These Group C cars, they got a sequential gearbox. You can see the gear change there. But yes, very old school from the 80s. A lot of grip, these cars have. But still, they're not like a modern day race car. Very old school. Got these big turbos. So as a turbo spool up, there's a lot of lag. So the drivers are saying they're really difficult to drive. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of cars spinning out. Tire wears ×3 today. We balloted that yesterday. So fuel's at ×2, tire wears at ×3. So even though the format for this weekend is 2 15-minute races, because tire wears at ×3, we might see drivers trying to pit. They have the choice of the soft tire or the hard tire, and you can see Allesandro right now, he's on the soft tire right now. So maybe they're playing to go with the soft tire and try and do one pit stop, or maybe they go with the hard tire and try not to do a pit stop. So we will see different strategies in these Group C cars.
It's mainly e-racing, sim racing has very much for youngsters. Dylan Tan, he's one of the preceding season champions. He won season 4. This kid is still only 13 years of age, and he is a precocious talent.
Yes, from Singapore, like you said, he's definitely, everyone's talking about him. Like you said, he won Global Edition 4. He does do real life karting. His father Daniel's very much into pushing him for this, and he's improved so much. He's not just quick on Race Room, he's quick on ACC as well. We've seen some really good performances from him. I think he cut his teeth in sim racing with Global Edition, and like you said, improved steadily through Global Editions 1, 2, and 3, so that he won 4. Great to see him back for Global Edition 6, and for me, he'll be one of the favourites. However, just saying that, he's used to driving very good cars like DTMs and GT3s, which is all about being very smooth. I wonder how he'll do with the Group C cars, because the Group C cars, because they're monsters to drive with big steering inputs, takes a while to understand how to get the most out of them. And I wonder if young Dylan will struggle to get to the pace. But no doubt he will eventually, but it will be a completely different car to what he's used to driving.
One of the big advantages of E-Racing GP is the man who's just been talking to you, Alex Young, a former racer himself, of course, still managing. And you really think long and hard about the challenge that you want to give to the racers, don't you? I know you're in communication with them, saying, what would you like to drive? What's a challenge for you? What brought you to the decision that you really want to make life tough for them?
Well, it's because a large part of what we do is, yes, entertainment is very interesting. It's very important. We want to see exciting racing, so we always mess around with the formats to try and make sure the racing is exciting. But we also want to try and get these drivers to reach a different level, you know. And the drivers' standard in Asia Pacific is very good, but it's still not quite as high as, say, in Europe and America. So a large part of what choosing different cars and different tracks is to challenge these drivers, to try different driving styles, you know. And we've done a few seasons with DTM already, which was a great car to do. But we really also wanted to introduce them, they've tried these cars before, to these old school cars, which require a different driving style. And also you just have to say, it's great to see these old school cars there. You know, we have 4 classes in Global Edition. It's kind of like a friendly racing in copper class and bronze class. Gets more serious in silver, and now in gold it gets ultra serious with cash up to play as well.
Absolutely great. Very much an international field as well. You've got Inigo Anton here. I suspect the livery's been designed by his mum for this particular one. But Inigo Anton, one of a number of Filipinos who we've seen improve season on season on season. And he's alongside Luis Moreno, who many moons ago won the Philippines Championship. But Inigo Anton we've seen in an E1 Championship, very, very competitive. So it really is a Southeast Asia plus Italy battle that you've got. Italy and Australia.
And you're right, just talking about the Filipinos, you got Luis Moreno, who's been recognized as Philippines #1, Inigo Anton, who arguably is as quick, maybe quicker now in race room, and Russel Reyes also is here with us. Russel Reyes is a real life racer who's very, very quick, and I've seen him in practice. He's going to be a factor as well.
Qualification is underway. Casio Edifice is your official timekeeper. Our thanks to X-Parks and Royal Selangor for the prizes, the cash prize as well. We'll be mentioning the sponsors. It's so important for the continuation. Here, though, is Josh Purwien, runner-up in the 2015 season. And let's stick with Josh, Alex, and see if he can put down a marker lap, and maybe you can talk us around the circuit as well.
Yep, it comes down through the first chicane, turns 1, 2 and 3. Now for turn 5, this long, heavily banked corner. Minimum speed is very important, but exit is even more important because it leads down this long back straight. And Josh is purple in Sector 1. He's quickest of all through Sector 1. And look how concentrated he is. Josh Purwien, based out of Perth, Australia. He was a McLaren Shadow finalist, Asia Pacific champion, shall I say. Now, he flat through these corners through turns 8 and 9. Flat through turn 10. Now this is through turn 11. Not sure he's quite flat. Then you got a break for turn 12. Tightens up, but again, heavily banked, so you can carry a lot of speed. And Josh is on the soft tyre, and I think he's in the Nissan as he goes through the last few corners. This turns 13, 14, 15, this long left-hander onto the start-finish straight. Purple through Sector 2 as well as he comes across the line, but I don't think that's quick enough at the moment.
Would you believe it's only 5th fastest, and Naquib Azlan has put in a faster time. Inigo Anton has put in a quick time as well. Inigo for the GT Radial Eurasia Motorsport team, he has put in a time of P that's got himself into P2, but Naquib in P1, Nabil, his brother, in P4. How about Dylan Tan? Let's see, Dylan is out on the circuit at the moment. Let's see how the youngsters coping with the old school car.
I'm quite shocked by the Naquib Azlan's time to go 4/10 quicker than anyone else. Inigo Anton in second as well, because I know Inigo Anton, he's been stuck outside Manila, so he's not had a chance to practice. So to see him P2 is very impressive. But Dylan Tan there he is. Oh, he's had a shunt. He'll have to restart. There is enough time though. Don't need to panic.
5 minutes for qualification. You can see at the very top of your screen there's 2 minutes 45 left to go. This is Allesandro Ottaviani. As you say, he guested for a couple of races last year. He won one of them, and we thought, my word, we have got a man to really show the rest of the way. There he is, bottom right of your screen. But at the moment, Ottaviani only 9th fastest, Alex, and a second down on Naquib Azlan.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see him so far down. He's a really good driver, Ottaviani is, and I expect him to be battling for the front 2 rows. But I'm just stunned with Naquib Azlan's lap at 8.6. No one is getting close to that at the moment. Ottaviani then breaks for turn 1, 2, and 3. Let's follow him as we go around the lap, as we talk about a lap around. Oh, he messed up turn 1 again, so he's going to restart again.
This is his last chance. This is the lap of no return. You don't want to be down the grid at Salzburgring. You don't want to be down the grid and having to work your way through traffic.
Yeah, he has to get this right. Even if he has to take it a bit easier to turns 1, 2, and 3, because down in 9th position, that's not where he wants to be. We're right on board with him. See, he's got to pick the braking marker. Let's listen as he bangs down the gears. He's in the Nissan. Most people are choosing to drive the Nissan.
He's going again.
Wow, I really think
he's leaving it. That's too tight. That is too tight. A 108. I suppose he's got 10 seconds to play with. But Naquib Azlan, Alex, is the man who is fastest. And Naquib, a 108.6. And he posted that lap time very, very early. Inigo Anton in P2. And there is your defending champion. And I suppose being defending champion, Alex, you want to stay champion.
Yeah, gosh, there's so much time to the first corner, so they're resetting it quite often. Let's see if we can follow on board with Inigo Anton. Here he goes through the turns 1 and 2. See if he's got enough time to challenge for pole position. Oh, gets a sideways action. But like I said, Inigo Anton is very short on practice. I know he's been out doing some real racing in Philippines. Struggled to get back in Manila. He told me he's got a blackout. But good exit out of turn 5. Wiggles on the exit. Fastest, you're right. He's a 10th up on Azlan through sector 1. He's also in the Nissan. Long back straight. Easy flats to turns 8, 9, and 10. I'm not sure if he's got enough time.
I don't think he's got enough time to finish this lap,
Wow.
These are the unofficial times. I think he started about 5 seconds too late. So Inigo Anton is going to be on the front row of the grid, but in P2 behind Naquib Azlan, unless something astonishing happens. Purwien and Nabil Azlan on the second row. Dylan Tan and Andy Karama on the third row. The first 5 all pick up points for qualification. We'll just stick on this for now, just in case Inigo Anton is able to finish his lap. But like you, I think he's out. But Allesandro Ottaviani, Alex, misses out. P9,
what a disaster for the Italian superstar. He's going to start P9. It's going to be a difficult race for him. Also a difficult race for Andy Karama Milana as well.
Wow, okay. So, qualification, what a time that was for Naquib Azlan. I am number 1. You've got to take me down. That seems to be the message from the young Malaysian.
Yeah, he's not giving up at all, is he? I thought, okay, he's won one global edition, but he wants to do more.
We are E-Racing GP, round 6. It is the gold class. It is the best of the best. We are just about 30 seconds away from the start of this race. Naquib Azlan, the defending champion, in the red on the right, will be in the pole position. You've got to get off to a good start. The race to that chicane here at Salzburgring is really, really important. 10 seconds, just give you an idea of how the circuit is. You can see it's 2 long straights, but the cornering at the 2 end of those long straights really does make this a difficult course, as does the chicane. Right, red lights are on. When they go off, we will be underway. This is the start. Naquib Azlan in pole, bottom right of your screen. Long wait for the drivers. Red lights are still flashing. Now we're underway. Naquib, a bit of wheel spin. Behind him, Nabil gets a good start ahead of Inigo Anton. Purwien is there. Naquib holds on. No, Naquib overtaken by Nabil and Josh Purwien.
Wow.
So Nabil Azlan leads the way, and Amo Hazik joins us for commentary. Amo, sorry for the late start. Well, what a start that is for Nabil Azlan.
Oh, indeed. That's a great jump that he had on his brother. And also the fact that Ottaviani had an absolute flyer into the midfield before he got swamped at that first corner chicane. But everybody else seems to have got away safely. So 19 cars altogether. And Dylan Tan right at the back.
Dylan Tan, as you say, right at the very back. Down in P19, he was obviously caught up. He's just overtaken Muhammad Khalif, but it's Nabil Azlan as Naquib begins to make a move. Naquib goes through on the inside, and Naquib, having been fastest in qualification, Amo Hazik has regained the lead. Josh Purwien behind the 2 brothers in P3.
And he's got his brother as a buffer here, and driving the same car as well. In fact, all 3 of them in the Nissan. But no team orders as of yet, or brother family orders. It's just a straight fight all the way as we come to the end of lap 1.
Well, we know the history of Naquib and Nabil in that Nabil thwarted Naquib a title once in when Alif Hamilton won. We'll talk about that later. But look at that. Josh Purwien tries to have a go round the outside of Nabil Azlan. Purwien, though, is definitely trying to make amends. He hasn't won a title, Purwien, but he's been really close on a couple of occasions. This is a talented racer.
Yeah, he has, and he will be looking to actually put that to rest if he wants to actually, finally claim a title in the RGP. He came close quite a few times, as you said, Des. In fact, I think he's been on the top 3 for at least 3 seasons, so he wants to put that right. Right now, at least, he's doing that correctly. He's in 3rd, trying to get by Nabil Azlan, but Nabil's holding on to the 2nd position quite well.
He certainly is, but Naquib has been able to establish himself a bit of a lead as Josh goes on the inside. Nabil just closes that gate. Have you had a chance to drive these these Group C vehicles, Ammo? They're difficult, as you can see, as Purwien goes off.
Oh, I spoke too soon about Josh being starting on a good foot here. Now it's got to be swamped. Look at Ottaviani's gone by, Masvilton's gone by, Tasby's gone by, Reyes has gone by. So bad start there to the season for Purwien after such a good start from the line. But anyway, yes, I have actually had the opportunity to drive these cars. Absolutely fun. I love it. Group C's are the best cars that have ever existed in motorsports, bar none. They're absolute beasts, and they're very enjoyable to drive.
Okay, let's go on to the race leader once again, Naquib Azlan. Tell you what, he has really taken everybody by surprise. That qualification time that he set was very, very early. And we've seen Naquib leave his qualification a little bit less than quality. He's got a slow down penalty there. That'll bring Nabil back a little bit closer.
And somebody else for the behind us spine. It looks like I think it's Ottaviani. Ottaviani has actually dropped it coming through the Nordstein curve. So not a good start to the season for the European ace. And he's got a lot of work to do here from 11th.
Yeah, let's have a look on Allesandro Ottaviani. There he is. In way down in P11. He qualified only in P9. In practice, Ammo, he'd been really quick and he looked really organised. But here, he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I think he left it a bit too late in qualifying to actually set any meaningful time. He just put himself under a lot of pressure. Now he's just playing catch up, and he's behind to one of the first of the Porsches. It's Ayman Hazik, and he's gone for a bit of a weird one this one because the Nissan by this time in the IMSA GTP Championship was much faster than the Porsche, and you can see there coming in the last corner the grunt of the Nissan. He's trying to outrun Ayman coming into turn 1 as they come through the Red Bull gantry into the chicane. And, nearly gets it. Ottaviani just nearly had the run on him, but Ayman had the better ground towards the chicane, and he holds on to P10 just for the moment.
That chicane really does slow everybody down. Ottaviani, we're just sticking with him just for a moment because Naquib Azlan is racing away at the front, and Naquib is really behaving like a champion. Ottaviani, there's a crash in front of him. Who was that one?
That could be Ayman, or it's Masvilton. It's Masvilton who has actually spun around, so that's the second time we've seen another car spun around coming through the Nordstein curve, so pretty much a curve that can catch anybody out. It's a bit of a negative camber corner. It's a bit like an oval, but the moment that you put the throttle wrong, you're going to spin it around, and that's exactly what happened to Masvilton. As we now look back to the battle between Inigo Anton and Nabil Azlan. Nabil holding on here. He's doing his brother a huge favour by holding up the rest of the field.
He is indeed. The pink livery of Nabil and Inigo Anton. Both were wearing 28. There's Inigo from the Philippines as they go on to lap 5. They are some 2.5 seconds down on Naquib Azlan, who is disappearing into the horizon as we see Nabil Azlan, as you say, doing his brother a real favour at the moment. That chicane is a hazardous chicane. They both manipulated pretty well on this occasion, but we have seen in previous races today, Ammo, that chicane can be a problem.
Yeah, a lot of drivers have come unstuck, and even in qualifying, some drivers have actually flipped it. So that is a deceptively menacing corner, to say the least. The tire walls just catch you out, or if you hit the tire walls just hard enough, you're going to flick it. So yeah, very treacherous corner.
Now Nabil has received a slowdown penalty. That will enable Inigo Anton to go around him. Oh, is he able to? As Harry Zephyr receives a slowdown penalty as well. Track limits abuse. This tight circuit is causing a problem. This time, Inigo is able to get through into P2. Nabil lets him through. And and then he goes wide. Inigo Anton gets it completely wrong.
I know Nabil got it wrong, and fortuitously, he found the escape route right there, so he didn't lose that much time. But he'll be very annoyed for himself that he gone that wide and lost position.
Wow. Gosh, really good stuff. In the meantime, it's a rather sedate time out in the countryside for Naquib Azlan. Stratos Motorsport, as Inigo will get a penalty for track limits abuse. For that one, there is no doubt of it. But Naquib Azlan, a lead ammo of 4 seconds. Nobody called this.
He's not hanging back, isn't he? Because he really wants to prove the point that he is the champion and he is the target that everyone must aim for. 4 seconds at the start of the season. Who could have thought that? We didn't really anticipate them to actually be not chilling as we now look at Russel Reyes already outside, side by side with Muhammad Nabil, and he gets the grunt there alongside the Porsche. The Nissan visually is much faster than Porsche around here. But having said that, the Porsche looks good around the corners. It's almost like the 500cc days when MotoGP came here. It was like the Honda lane. Hondas were fast on the straight, and looks like Nissan are carrying that torch here for the Japanese.
A good comparison indeed. The Porsche of Muhammad Nabil. Remember the Nabil, he's another who's been on the podium at the end of the season, so you can't write off the Singaporean. The selection between the Porsche and the Nissan ammo, again, you've driven it. What would you have chosen? What do you think? What is your favourite?
I'll say the Nissan because of the pure grunt that thing has. The Porsche, despite the big wing on the back and the fact that they're actually, despite being on the Group C, they raced both in different championships that's Nabil actually losing it and he's now dropped to 5th. But the Nissan just seems to be much faster to the fact that it had better development compared to the Porsche. The Porsche was developed independently by Joe's Racing and didn't have the factory support compared to what Nissan had. So I'd rather prefer the Nissan in this regard because it's just that all-round better than the Porsche. Just about.
We are focused here on a battle for P4. We're on board with Muhammad Nabil. He's got Russel Reyes, who we rarely speak about. Russel Reyes, he's in P3, but Nabil Azlan is there. There is Russel Reyes in the front of them. You tell you what, Russell is one of those who's improved season on season, and we've not really spoken about him, Amo. But here, he's looking very secure and very organised.
I think it's a matter of fact that he actually has not really raced in the Global Edition that much. I think this is his first real full-time season. He's been racing, of course, in the Endurance Edition quite successfully with the Veloce Ragazzo Squadron team. But yeah, he rarely comes about a race room. But when he does, he can actually be on the pace. And just look at that. He got the better of Nabil, who has been, we can safely say, a veteran of the championship.
Nabil gets himself through into P4, Reyes in 5. Brody Steen's up there. Your mate Tadashi is in P7. That's a little bit of fun. The Ballas Esport Blue Steel Racing RSG driver. Pick your lot out of that. But he was in a bit of a wobble there, and he's under pressure from Ottaviani. Ottaviani goes on the inside. Ottaviani will get himself up into P7 ahead of Ayman Hakim Tadashi. Who's that? Who spun? Was that somebody spun there?
Could that be Andika? Yeah, it looked like for a second. I think it could be Andika. We'll try to get that confirmation later on. But Ayman Hakim has been overtaken by Ottaviani, and there's Andika. Andika's coming through now as well. So we can safely say that, like the 500cc MotoGP race back in the 80s and early 90s, this is not just the Honda lane, it's the Nissan lane, and the Porsche is being swallowed up here by really fast darts.
Side by side there, we've just seen a couple of places lost by Ayman Hakim Tadashi and Dikarama Milana. Great to have the Indonesian speedster back. He's alongside Andrea Ottaviani. That is a battle for P7. Just a quick look to see how Dylan Tan is coping. Alex was saying beforehand that he might struggle with these old school cars, and a P17 suggests that Alex got it spot on, Amo.
Yeah, I think because he's not used to this kind of, the rawness of the car. There's no aerodynamic dependency compared to modern day hype prototypes. It does have a bit, but the power that you have to put on, you really have to balance the throttle as that's a Nissan going off, and that's an easy position for him. That's Khalif, I think. Yep, he's taking 16th place. But the cars are just completely different. In fact, even Sim Kaiwan and Ayman Hakim are struggling with this. So I think these guys who have been used to driving some really newer school cars are not used to this old ones. As Reyes goes to the inside and takes third place away from Nabil,
I think he was just defending it there, Russel Reyes. He was just able to hold off an attack by Muhammad Nabil. So Russel Reyes for the Veloce Ragazza Squadra team is holding on to P3. He's about 2 seconds down on his fellow Filipino Inigo Anton, who is a long way behind Naquib Azlan. Sorry, Naquib, we've rather ignored you. That's because there's a terrific race going on here for P3 as Paul Faustino picks up a slow down penalty. But Reyes was able to hold off the challenge from Nabil once again, and Nabil now under pressure from Nabil Azlan, Amo.
Yeah, and in fact, Nabil now actually quickly recovering after that rather small mishap at the chicane. He is actually close this time, I think, to at least mount a slight challenge. Not an overtake, but a slight challenge as they come out through the... Oh, the notch tie curve! Nabil nearly loses it. Look at that, the amount of power they have to put. It's almost 900 horsepower in these cars, and you can easily lose. And look at that, Nabil just illustrates how much of a delicacy you need to have on that foot, on your right throttle.
Be still lie beating heart for Nabil Azlan as he looks up. But he has proven that he can get very, very close. Tell you what, back in P6, there's a battle going on as well. You've got Allesandro Ottaviani. He's making a real move, as is Andika Rama. And the man who's being swallowed up is Brody Steen. Tadashi's still in that battle as well, but we are on board with Ottaviani. A combination of P7 and P8, but Brody Steen is really feeling the pressure.
Indeed, and I'll be really looking over my shoulder as well when you have three fast drivers like this in a row. Ottaviani, Andika Rama Malana, and Naquib. The trio, to him, is almost like an unholy trinity chasing him right now.
We are on board with Andika Rama Malana. He's in P8. Ahead of him, he's got Ottaviani. Brody Steen just has to defend as somebody's gone off. Whoa, somebody's made a mistake there. It must have been a back marker. For a moment, I thought it was one of the early top racers, but it's not. It's one of the back markers as Ottaviani goes on the inside. Ottaviani overtakes Brody Steen, and Andy Karama tries to follow him through. Thrilling stuff, Amo Hazik.
Oh, absolutely. This is what we came to see for, because these cars are just absolute beasts to drive, and they're really fun to race with. And despite the fact that they're made for more endurance races, by this time they were actually catered towards sprints. So that's why you see that these cars are actually much faster, even though we're in a short distance of a race. As Ottaviani now comes through the Ortschleife and into the Fahrenlager curve, which is actually literally meaning the paddock curve. Ottaviani then great recovery after that mistake on lap 1. Oh, that's a bit squirrely there. Faustino gets disqualified for driving the wrong way, I think. So disastrous start for the Filipino. But Ottaviani with a great recovery here. If he finishes in the top 5, that would be a good way to start the season for him.
So Ottaviani, that's in P6. We must break away. Naquib Azlan, he's in a race of his own. He's got nobody anywhere near him. This has been a thing of beauty from Naquib Azlan. The champion is actually close to lapping certain races as well. He's got Inigo Anton behind him, but this is going to be a superb victory for Naquib Azlan, barring some kind of catastrophe.
Indeed, and he's actually laid the gauntlet out for everybody here for the rest of the season, that he's shown, yes, I am here, I'm going to defend my title, and you're going to have to pry it away from my hands if you want to get it.
So Naquib 5 seconds clear. 1 minute still to go in the race, so we'll revisit him in just a moment. Inigo Anton, quick mention of Inigo, he's in P2. He's a couple of seconds clear of Russel Reyes, who's himself nearly 3 seconds clear of Muhammad Tasbi. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is all very clear. But I tell you what, Allesandro Ottaviani and Andy Karama are having a real battle as well. Ottaviani in P6. Andy Karama's just got the better of Brody Steen to move up into the top 7. Tadashi next to have a look at Brody Steen.
Yep, and I will hazard to guess that I might have a bit of a struggling time to actually get by Brody, because, you know, he's in a Porsche and not in the Nissan. So he's going to have to chase him and outbrake him just to have any chance of getting it, because the Nissans are just that fast on the straights.
Oh, there's a problem there. The Porsche find handling just a little bit difficult. Behind them, I tell you what, as we have a look at Ayman Hakim Tadashi, Josh Purwien, who was in P3. I think he was qualified very, very quickly. But Josh fell off the way, and he's down in P12. Really struggling.
Yeah, I think he was the guy that actually spun that we saw earlier. Yes. It was a blind-looking Nissan. So, yes, it was definitely Josh Purwien, not Paul Faustino, that has actually been disqualified from the race. They're going to go side by side. But look at that, Paul, the grunt of the Nissan, coming up to the Ortschleife. He's going to get the move done. Yes, he does. He's on the inside there. Ayman Hazik had no answer to that. He's going to have to let by, as Naquib, I think, has come through the final corner to take victory.
Yes, there is Naquib Azlan, takes the victory in race 1 of the season. A veritable country mile clear of Inigo Anton. Inigo Anton from the Philippines, a very good P2 for him. Russel Reyes holding on for the Philippines in P3. Ahead of Muhammad Tasbi, Nabil Azlan Ottaviani gets up into the top 6. Ahead of Andika Rama, and Brody Steen completes the top 8. But we rather ignored Naquib Azlan for too long, Ammo, simply because he was a class apart. the official result. Ottaviani getting fastest lap. Naquib Azlan picks up 25 points from Inigo, Anton, Russel, Reyes, Tasby in 4, Nabil in 5, Ottaviani fastest lap in 6th, Andy Karama 7, Brody Steen 8, Tadashi a very quick 9th, Luis Moreno we hardly spoke to in 10th, Purwien 11th, Ayman 12th, Nabil 13th, Nazir Azlan 13th, Jinmas Wilton and Harry Zephi completing the point scorers. Great first race, Amo.
Absolutely, and it's my favorite class of all time, Group C. Can't wait to see more of this in race 2. Yep, and it's going to be an interesting run up to turn 1 because remember, the fast guys are now in that midfield towards the back, while the slower guys are actually going to hold the front as a bad start there from Harris. In fact,
Harris is pushed out the way.
Oh, he's got hit by Naquib Azlan there, but the rest of the field go by as now coming to the first corner, Jinmas Wilton actually leads the way. He gets the whole shot coming to turn 1.
Jinmas Wilton leads the way from Nabil Azlan. Josh Purwien, he'll be looking to make amends for a disappointing round 1. Josh Purwien has got himself up into P3 already. That's the race he's got ahead of him. And Nabil Azlan trying to go on the inside of Jinmas Wilton. Wilton is pretty quick himself, though. We forget how good the second string of racers are. Behind them, how has Naquib started? Where is Naquib Azlan?
I hazard to guess he has actually made his way up to P7 in fact. So great start.
Yeah, Naquib in P7. There he is. What a start! And he takes Ayman Hazik there as well as Naquib Azlan. Well, we're with Jinmas Wilton at the moment, but Naquib Azlan has got himself up into P7. Fabulous start as Josh Purwien goes around Nabil Azlan into P2. Allesandro Ottaviani moves into P3. All kinds of movements on the first lap of the gold edition round 1. Oh, fabulous stuff.
Oh, absolutely, and in fact, I was surprised that Jim managed to hold on to the lead there because the Porsche is visibly slower than the Nissan. We thought that Porsche was fast in the Group 4 class against the BMW Pro car, but in this case, it's the 962C used racing car slower than the Nissan 92K. So now he's going to have to defend hard here. Men's Wilton on the inside, Purwien on the outside. Can Purwien make the mistake? They're going side by side through the Notchstein curve, and somehow Purwien can manage to actually get the power in without sliding. He takes the lead.
We have a new race leader. It is Josh Purwien, and he just forced his way through there. Josh Purwien leads. Nabil Azlan is also trying to go around the outside of Jinmas Wilton, and also Ottaviani, who was a little bit out of the reckoning. He's moved into P3, but this is our race leader, and Josh Purwien shows some grim determination. That is a focused look on young Josh.
Absolutely, and the fact that he needs to make amends for that first one kerfuffle, shall we say, because he just went sliding into the barriers, a very rookie mistake, not unlike we see of Josh. So he's trying to make amends for it, and now he's going to try to pull a bit of a gap against himself and Nabil and Allesandro Ottaviani. If Ottaviani gets by Nabil, we're going to get a ding-dong battle for first and second.
He's on to lap number 3. Lap times are around about 1:11. Our fastest lap so far, just inside 1:11. Josh Purwien leads the way from Nabil Azlan. Naquib Azlan is making a move to get into the top 4, and he's actually gone around the outside of Nazri Azlan, and he's now moved in, I think, into the top 4. Naquib.
Yeah, Naquib's now up to 5th place, I think, because he hasn't gotten by his brother yet. But that's Nazri. I think that's Nazri Azlan. So the 3 Azlan brothers are in the top 5. Except they're not first running first, second, and third. They're running second, 4th, and 5th. But who's counting? This is still a great family outing for them.
I was going to say, do we do team orders or do we do family orders?
I didn't mention earlier, family orders might actually come to play because there's no such thing as team here at the moment. They're driving for different teams. Oh, actually, apart from the 2 main Naquib and Nabil Azlan brothers, Nazri, I'm not sure which team he's part of, so maybe family orders might come to play if push comes to shove. As to the 2 Porsches go side by side through the final corner, who's got the bat over that? Looks like Tasbe has actually gotten around Ayman Hazik.
What I'm seeing, though, at the front, though, is Josh Purwien is able to pull away. I also just want to focus on Russel Reyes. We mentioned him. He got a P3 in race number 1. Here he is. From low down on the grid. He's up into P8. He's got Ayman Hazik ahead of him and Muhammad Tasbi. But again, this is a very safe, consistent drive from Russel Reyes from the Philippines.
Yeah, he's actually known to be that very monotonously consistent. But I do, sometimes when I'm racing with him, I try not to actually be too aggressive with it because he can actually be known to knock people into a spin, but nonetheless, he's actually improved since then. And now, the way that he's driving, as we go back to the front of the grid here, Ottaviani going around the outside, inside, outside for a second. I thought he was going to overtake on the grass, but Nabil holds firm and he still stays in second, all the while that Josh is pulling away at the front. And to finish out that point, Reyes has really improved as a driver, and looking at that now, he's definitely one of the top favorites. Oh, Ottaviani spins around, manages to get it around safely, 360 pirouette, and still goes on. Ottaviani there, not his day at all.
Holding on just to P3 at the moment, but Naquib Azlan will be coming into his rearview mirror pretty soon. Naquib is leading ahead of Muhammad Tasbi and Russel Reyes. A battle there, but that was spectacular from Ottaviani. There he is though, battling for P2, and then a spin. Was it a mistake or was there a bit of a touch?
I think it was a mistake. He just got on the power a bit too much coming up to the chicanes, and Nabil, through no fault of his own, just got the line around the outside. Ottaviani just tried to follow through, but then just got on power a bit too early, and that's it. That's all she wrote. But thankfully for him, he managed to get it pointing in the right direction and lost pretty much not that much time.
So Naquib Azlan is still leading this battle for P4. Naquib Azlan is up and down that little group on numerous of occasions. Let's just go on to Naquib to see his view here. He's in the red driving gloves, you can see. He's got Russel Reyes, Muhammad Tasbi and Naquib Azlan ahead of him. Ayman Haziq for company just behind him. Focusing on Naquib because he's the race number 1 and he's the defending champion. But here he's looking in a little bit of trouble, Ammo. He's not really been able to utilise his speed as he did in race 1.
Yeah, he hasn't, and the fact that there's a reason for that. He's being held up by a lot of drivers who are equally as fast as him, so he can't really have a say in this unless he's actually gotten clean air by overtaking them. So right now, at least, boxed in. Podium chance looks a bit far away because Ottaviani's occupying that position.
Very much boxed in, and Naquib Azlan is leading that way as Ayman Hakim Tadashi. G just barges his way through, so Naquib drops down to P8. Ayman Hakim showing a little bit of aggression there. Ayman Hakim, when you get his anger going, he can be a very aggressive racer.
Oh, you wouldn't want to hear him when he gets riled up, and luckily on the Zoom calls, we don't actually hear that audio. He is actually very chatty while he's driving, and I think for a second there, Ayman had a bit of lag. He actually lagged behind into several other cars, and that allowed Ayman to come through. So the biggest loser out of that is Ayman Haziq. For the rest of the drivers, that's one free position. Why is Naquib going there? Naquib actually raised his hand up for a second. He looked a bit displeased with the way Dylan's defending. Oh, no wonder. These two have been at it since the first season of Global Edition. And Dylan and Naquib are together again here after Dylan's been away for a season.
So Dylan Tan has got himself up into P7 ahead of Naquib Azlan. Again, as with race number 1, we're rather ignoring what's going on at the top because Josh Purwien has got a massive lead over Nabil Azlan, Ottaviani in 4, Muhammad Tasbi in 4. This is a real scrap going on here. We're on board with 14-year-old Dylan Tan. Behind him, Naquib Azlan draws into the slipstream, tries to get close. Naquib goes on the inside of Dylan Tan. Dylan, almost runs into the back of Naquib Azlan. Slams on the brakes, so Naquib retains P7. Dylan Tan drops down to 8.
I'm surprised that Dylan didn't defend any harder there because they're both in the same cars, because if it was somebody in the Porsche, they would have defended harder because they had this straight line deficit. But now Naquib just really went past him. So I think the excessive blocking from Dylan might have actually thought that, need to reduce that a bit so that you don't get any calls from the stewards.
Indeed, holding on to these cars is difficult enough without getting stewards' inquiries coming your way as well. But what it means is Naquib Azlan is in P7. But all that scrapping means that he's a second down on Ayman Hakim Tadashi, who's in P6. And Russel Reyes has been able to pull away from all of them into P5. In fact, Russel Reyes is getting right onto the back of Muhammad Tasbi in a battle for P4.
And he might find the wall standing in front of him in the form of Muhammad Tasbi being harder to get by than the rest of the drivers that he has passed so far. Reyes is going to have a hard time because Tasbi is known to defend very hard for position. In fact, look at that. That's the kind of thing that Reyes likes to do. He likes to jingle the inside, dummy a person into a mistake, and he hopes that he can get by. But not that time. Tasbi wasn't fazed by it. He still holds on to 4th.
Dylan Tan gets a slow down penalty. He was overly aggressive and track limits were abused. But this is the battle for P4 at the moment. Muhammad Tasbi We're on board with him. He's in the white just ahead of Russel Reyes, who picked up a podium position in race number 1. E-Racing GP Global Edition Gold class as Reyes tries to go around the outside of Tasby, and Reyes is just able to get there, and then Tasby, as you say, Hazik, he just defends. Forearm smash out of the way.
Slams the door right in his face, and you're not getting by here. Not without this car having really good aerodynamics coming through the corners, and the big wing on the rear says so. So right now, Tasby then, holding on for dear life here. He has no chance of trying to catch up to Ottaviani. He's about 5.3 seconds ahead. So 4th place is the best he could hope for right now, unless something dramatic happens between Nabil and Ottaviani. 4th place and 5th place looks certain to be theirs at the moment between Tasby and Reyes.
Behind them, as Ottaviani gets a slow-down penalty. Let's just look at Allesandro Ottaviani. The Italian is a welcome addition to E-Racing GP. As you can see, the Edifice Casio timing, the official timing, brings us down inside 5 minutes. But a slow-down penalty for track limits abuse for Ottaviani. That will stop his clawing back on Naquib Azlan. But he had, because he was 2 seconds down on Nabil not long ago. It's now less than a second.
Tasby also has actually a slow-down penalty too. So he might actually go back to the clutches of Reyes. In fact, Reyes has gotten by. Reyes has actually gotten by Tasby. So there we go then. We didn't get to see the overtake, but I think it might have actually happened at the Nordstein curve. But Russel Reyes has gotten by Tasby. Now can Tasby fight back? They're going side by side through the Fargalaga curve. But can he make it stick? No. Tasby not far enough in to actually make that move stick. And Reyes holds on to 4th after overtaking him early in the lap.
That's a cracking battle going on between Tasby and Reyes. Tasby, at the moment,
Through
you can see,
the
is
final
very
corner
focused.
now. And up to the start-finish straight. Tasby now tries to chase back, but the Porsche then with the straight line speed deficit and a bit of a wiggle there from Reyes. I think that was a bit of lag, not just because Reyes was actually showing off that he got them through the first corner chicane, the Emco chicane. Up now to the Nordstein curve. This is the only time that they can actually make that move stick. Can they actually do it? No. Tasby holds on. Tasby stays in 5th. He has to actually get that move done before they come into the back straight, which is here. And that's where you can see Reyes is going to pull away his straight line speed in that Nissan, incomparable to the Porsche. The Porsche then helped that big by lag. If he had a Le Mans spec wing, he might have actually been closer, but not this time. They're running the GTP wing that they used in the Insa Sports Car Championship. And look at that. Tasby then, no chance of catching. He's going to have to actually claw his way back through the corners. As we look now between the battle between 2nd and 3rd. Nabil 2nd, Ottaviani 3rd, and Ottaviani looking really menacing there in the blue Nissan.
Indeed, Ottaviani is closing. At one stage, this gap was a couple of seconds. Now, it's 0.25 a second. Ottaviani, again, a little feint. Defensive work from Naquib Azlan. Ottaviani tries to look down the inside. Naquib Azlan, he has the right of way. Nabil will have to defend against Ottaviani. But another slowdown penalty for Ottaviani. He's really pushing the limits, Hazik Ottaviani.
Oh, yes, indeed. And he's fighting for pretty much the championship because we can safely say he's one of the favorites to contend for the championship, and he's trying to get points every which way he possibly can, even if it means, flagrantly abusing track limits slightly as he now comes to the back on Naquib Azlan. More and more warnings coming through. Drivers are just abusing that first corner.
Ottaviani in P2 at the moment. Naquib Azlan is the man who is once again defending. Again, similar vehicles, so Nabil has got the right of way just to protect his line. He's got the first turn into the corners. Ottaviani was there as we drop back onto Russel Reyes, and then we go back to Nabil and Ottaviani. There's 2 ongoing battles. Sorry, Josh Purwien, we can't visit you. You're so far out in front, you're in your own race.
Absolutely, there he is. He's just gotten by a few back markers. That's how fast the pace of the race is up at the front. But Reyes then, I'm surprised has not actually lost Tasby. Tasby managed to get back to the slipstream and get back up to the back of the Filipino, who actually has been really good so far in his first full debut season in the ERGP, despite racing in the Endurance Edition. Naquib Azlan, meanwhile, has gotten by everybody else in that midfield and is up to 6th. So he'll be looking to have damage limitation in the first round of the season.
We could see there just how difficult it is just to hold on at the end of that chicane. So Nabil, race one, back up to P2. And again, Ottaviani is going to have a crack at Naquib Azlan. He's within 0.1 of a second. Tasby a slowdown, a track abuse penalty. There is Ottaviani around the outside. Nabil defends this time. Ottaviani may well have been able to do too much. And Nabil pushes him off, and Ottaviani, for the second time in this race, slides off the racing line.
I think he just went up by himself, actually. Look at that. He didn't have much of a response to either Nabil pushing him because he just went that slightly wide. We saw Naquib a couple of laps ago, really on the limit. He was on the grass there. That's how much he's pushing the car. Ottaviani likewise doing the same, but he overstepped the mark and slammed into the barriers. Luckily, he didn't lose that much time. In fact, he still has a pocket of about 2.3 seconds ahead of Reyes.
Okay, so he's got that. That's for P3. Let's have a look at Josh Purwien. Hello, Josh. Nice to see you. How's your drive been? Pretty relaxed by the look of things. Amo Hazik, all he's got to worry about is back markers.
Yep, and luckily for him, we're in the GOAT class, and most of the GOAT back markers are always very compliant to the blue flag rule, so he wouldn't really lose too much time. Unless if I've spoken too soon and I see two battling cars at the back there, so Josh then has to probably just back up. In fact, he can't afford to back up. This is the final lap of the race.
It is the final lap of the race as we look at Naquib Azlan. Naquib trying to get into P5. That's Tasby that he's taking on. Tasby versus Naquib. Tasby defends. Naquib tries to go on the inside, and Naquib, this time the straight pace, is able to just not get him through. Great defending from Mohammed Tasby. Reyes is the man in front of them. This is the battle for P5 at the front. Josh Purwien has won it. Josh Purwien takes the victory in race number 2. Nabil Azlan comes through into P2. Allesandro Ottaviani in P3, Reyes in 4, and Naquib Azlan has just got the better of Tasby, and Naquib will come through in P5 ahead of the Singaporean Tasby. But the victory, Amo Hazik, and a fabulous drive from Josh Purwien.
Oh, absolutely. And we said that the championship protagonists have to get that right from the get-go. Both Naquib and Josh have done that. Now, championships are truly well and truly on, I will say.
Wow, fantastic racing there. So thank you so much for that, Amo Hazik. But we just have to have a quick word with Josh Purwien. Josh, fantastic win in race 2. You want to take us through that?
Yeah, I got the lead after a couple of laps and then I guess just drove away. Was a bit unhappy with race 1. The Aslans, like Nabil let Naquib through and then took me out, pushed me on the grass and then contact later on. So I wasn't really happy about that, but it's what it is. We move on. But yeah.
Well, I guess you got time to do a protest window. Send a protest. You don't look too happy. I mean, okay, didn't quite go your way in race 1, but at least you got the race 2 done.
Yeah, still too much points off the championship lead. So yeah, not really happy about it, but at least consolation.
Good old Josh. We can rely on him to make us all miserable. Well done, Josh. Congratulations. There's a smile.
Thank you.
Fastest lap from Inigo Anton. But Josh Purwien winning race number 2. Nabil Azlan and Ottaviani 3. Hey, Alex, this is going to be a really competitive championship. We had a different 1, 2, 3 for each of race 1 and race 2. So while Josh may say he's way off the championship lead, it's very, very, very early stages. And this is going to be uber competitive.
Yeah, it's going to be very close. As we saw, a quick screen grab there. Race Room Summer Sale, if you want to get some stuff from Race Room. But yeah, it is going to be close. You know, there's too many drivers to choose from, to be honest. There's Naquib, there's Josh, who won a race each. Ottaviani, who had finished P3 in race 2. Nabil Azlan is also going to be quick. We've got Andika Ram, who had a poor day today, but he'll be quick. Dylan Tan, Ayman Hakim. Who else are we forgetting here?
It's great.
Yeah.
There's too many.
Inigo
fabulous.
Anton. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of drivers capable of winning this championship, and it's going to be very close indeed. We'll try and talk with Naquib, shall we? He's race 1 winner, Naquib Azlan.
And P5 in race 2, he just went through in the latter stages. So a good point, early season lead in the championship, because fastest in qualifying, Naquib. Happy with your day's work?
A bit mediocre, I think. Qualifying went well. We got pole. Wasn't happy with my lap, actually, to be honest. And there was at least 2 tenths in it, but still a pole. Race 1 went relatively straightforward. Had a fun short battle with my brother the first lap, and race 2 was really annoying for some reason. Got caught up with Ottaviani's spin. Might have to look at the replay to see what happened there, and then had a game lag and brought me back like 3-4 places, so I had to make my way back, which is unfortunate. I think a podium was definitely there for race 2, but overall top 5 finish for both rounds, pole position. I think, yeah, pretty happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're leading the championship right now, but you know the competition is going to be tough. So some drivers who we expected to be at the front didn't have a great race today, but they're going to get strong later on. What are your thoughts for this five round championship?
ERGP has always been a strong competition. I think I've never come into it thinking it's going to be easy. There's some of the best in the Asia Pacific. So I always have to keep my wits about myself, especially with these cars. They're super hard to drive, as you can see, I think, with the amount of spins and whatnot. So yeah, I still have to keep on pushing 110% every single round and hopefully bring all the points I need to get this championship.
Okay.
Well, again, a very composed interview. I'm loving the fact that there's so much spinning going on. It means that there will be a lot of drama, and this will not be an easy title to defend, Naquib.
No, definitely not. So again, yeah, practice makes perfect, and have to put in a lot of practice for this one.
Okay. Brilliant stuff. So our championship leader, Naquib Azlan. Alex, it's working. You've got the drivers really having to work hard for every corner, for every overtake. The Nissans had the grunt, as Amo said in qualification, but the Porsches seem to have it around the corners. But the Nissan was the right choice this circuit. The choice of circuit's going to be important on the choice of car.
Yeah, and because it's so close, I'm wondering whether we might have to ballot circuits. That might be a safer way of doing it, because you can see different tracks are going to benefit different cars. So we've got to try and make sure it's as transparent as possible. We might have to start balloting tracks, I think, moving forward from a pool of tracks. But yes, we want to try and keep it old school. We are loving these old school tracks. Salzburg Ring gave us some good racing today. So we'll see what other tracks would be good for that. I'm excited. Like I said, I love seeing the cars moving under braking and through the corners. Race Room again, great game to watch. And yes, it is tough for the drivers to drive these cars, but it's the same for everyone. I think we're going to see different drivers at the front at different races.
Our thanks to our sponsors, that's Casio Timing, Xbox and Royal Selangor, very much involved with E-Racing GP as we go into Season 6. There's 4 more rounds to go, and if today is anything to look by or to anything to judge the season by, this is going to be the best one yet. This is E-Racing GP Global Edition, Gold Edition.